everybody. Welcome back to Grid Penalty, the Formula One podcast for everybody. My name's Brent Gill. With me, as always, is Jeff Tice, a.k.a. Jeffrey Tice, a.k.a. El Jeffrey Tice. Those aren't real those aren't real AKAs. Very excited to have you back, everyone. It's an off week. We got a great show for you, as always. Talking about Lando and Lewis, Leclerc and Jorge Russell, and, of course, Australia and the Mazzy. But before that, as always, we gotta get plugged.
Let's get plugged. Brent.
Let's get plugged.
It's so good to see you. I am so excited to be here. It's going to be a great week. Looking forward to it. I've already had a great week, but I have some shows coming up. You can also find me on all social media, per usual, at Jeffrey Tice, GEOFFREYTICE. Check me out. Hit me up. DM me. Talk some trash. Do whatever you want to do. And then on Thursday, March 30th, I will be headlining the Comedy Fort, the Fort Showcase. I'll be closing that out in Fort Collins, Colorado. So come check that out. Also, as always, on Amazon, you can buy my children's book. It's called The 11 Evelyns. People are enjoying it. So if you got a kid, buy the book. Check it out. It's fun. And then let's say you are reading a book and you're like, man, this book is not that fun. I think I've done this version before. You're like, these jokes aren't that good. What you're going to want to do,
I love them personally,
is put that book down. You're going to get in the car and you're going to say, see ya, family. And I'm never going to see you ever again. I want to hear some hardcore, raunchy comedy, which is not at all a good pitch for exactly
what is this,
how
the Squire
it goes.
Lounge
Yeah,
pitching?
exactly. You're going to get in your car, and you're going to drive cross-country. In my head, you are in Rochester right now, and you're going to drive all the way cross-country.
Big listenership in Rochester.
Yep, shout out to Rochester. And you're not going to stop. You're not going to even pee. You're just going to stay in your Ford Fusion, your 2011 Ford Fusion, until you get to 28th and Valmont in Boulder, Colorado.
It's a mini cannonball run is what they're doing.
That's it. The old gumball. Yeah. And so don't go to Vacuums R Us. I know that you miss it, and there's one in Rochester that you love, but you don't want to go to that one in Boulder. You're not going to go to Coyote Cleaners, and you're not going to go to Cosmos Pizza and other just made-up businesses that exist in Boulder. You're going to go to the Rayback Collective at 7 p.m. every single Sunday for the Boulder Comedy Show. Will you see me there? No, absolutely not. But Brent will be there, maybe.
Jeff had a kid and was like, I am going to retire from my Sundays.
I was going to say, the podcast.
Until the 10-year anniversary.
I can't really dedicate 8 hours of my day to podcasting and hosting the show. But yeah, come to the Boulder Comedy Show. Brent will be there. BK Sherrod will be there. Georgia Comstock will be there. It's a great crew. The show is the best. Brent, where can the good people find you? Where can they find out how you're doing, how you're living?
You can always find me on my Instagram. It's at I am Brent Gill. We're all very excited about it. You can find me there. You can find me online as well. The first link in my bio there is a link to my comedy special, Live from Philadelphia. I would love for you to watch that. It's very funny. And IMO. It's very funny. And then you can also catch me. I got a couple shows coming up not this month. We're still in March. In April, my big show is going to be the Chiba Hut 420 show. We do this every single year over at the Comedy Fort in Fort Collins, right down the street from the Chiba Hut headquarters. So check us out there. We got 2 shows, one at 420. Gnarly.
Sick, dude.
And then another one at 7:30. And then the next night, you can catch me in Denver at High Note Comedy at the Skylark Lounge at 8 o'clock. The next night, April 22nd, Sunday, I will be in Boulder at the Boulder Comedy Show.
Yes.
And then my next big show is the 10-year anniversary of the Boulder Comedy Show. 10 years, every week we've been running this show, and it is the longest running show. I think it's the longest running weekly show in the state.
Yeah.
And it's for sure the longest running show in the town of Boulder.
For sure.
I think in history.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So
that's great.
very excited about that. And the work that we've accomplished up there, especially keeping it going through the pandemic.
Yeah.
So please check me out there at the Rayback Collective, or just search anything related to Boulder and comedy. And do that.
Yeah.
Our producer. Shout out to Kat Orlean. We love her. You can follow her at KO Recording. Also, our amazing video editor, Jan at Points in a Williams. Make sure you follow them. And follow us on YouTube and Instagram if you want to see what my big ass forehead looks like on camera. I got it. It's in HD. So check us out there at Grid Penalty F1 for both of those.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, that's where you find us.
Yeah. Check us out.
How you been, Jeff?
Oh, the week has been good. Last week I was in California and the trip was awesome.
You were at my house.
I was in your house.
I fixed that picture.
It was very hilarious. That's so
Look how straight it is. I got so mad. I was like, I got to fix
like,
this fucking picture. It's killing me.
I've had people also comment on this one being crooked behind me and the
one in the middle?
The one on the far end.
The far left?
Yeah, and
my left, you're right.
Yeah, because
who knows?
But yeah, I gotta fix it. It just slowly starts to creep, and then people have like DM'd me like, "Hey man, I love the podcast. Fix the picture. Fix the picture. It's so bad." But yeah, man,
dude, it's so. First of all, hanging up pictures like this is so difficult. Yeah. Like I had to bring out measuring tape. I had to like how big is the frame and where does the nail go? Yeah. This is why it took me 6 months to hang this.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. We use like painter's tape to like map it out. It's a whole mess, but
oh, that's smart.
Yeah, that goes. There's some good techniques that you can use, but yeah.
Man, I should have called you, the artist.
I mean, it's all Mallory.
Hey, how do you hang this shit?
My wife is the one who knows how to do all that. I just get furious and then hold it up as she's like measuring. That's all.
I just wing it and I'm like, is it close enough?
That's totally fair.
At first, I had put masking tape on the back of the pictures to try and stick it so it was straight, but it kept undoing because there's texture on the wall. Yep. And so it just kept undoing and moving sideways. Like, all right, I'm moving the nail. Yeah. God damn it.
God damn it. Yep, totally. So, yeah, last week was great. I was in your apartment hanging out with Eland while he was on the sim. It was great.
Did you take a couple laps on the sim?
I didn't. I ended up having to leave.
0 laps? Oh, because the video wouldn't upload.
I had to go.
Damn it.
I got stuff to do. Had to get to the airport. It was fine. It was I did.
It's cool looking though, isn't it?
It's amazing. The sim looks.
It's a much better upgrade than the other one.
Really cool. I could see my life really crumbling if I had one, and just really dedicating a lot of time to just making sure I was good at Jeddah. Honestly, is what I would be doing. But yeah,
it's so hard.
It's tough. It looked hard. It looks really tough. But yeah, had a good week in LA, and then we all got back, and we're all like, the whole family got sick from traveling, so we all were like stuffy for a few days. And then some really cool news. I don't talk about this on the podcast that much, but if you don't know, I have a side. Well, it's not a side. It's my main job. But I have a design company that I do a lot of work with my partner, and that's how I make a living. And we just launched a brand new project for Peacock, for NBC. So if you go on the Peacock platform and you go to search for movies or TV shows via the genre tiles, if you're searching by genre for a movie or a TV show on Peacock, all the icons, all the design system, and then all the illustrations and the hero images as you go through for each genre, I created with my partner. So
that's so cool.
Super cool. That we didn't know it was going to go live this fast. Like, we had just finished it right at the end of last month, and we thought they were going to launch sometime in April, and boom, they hit us up, and they're like,
that's why they doubled up that deadline on you.
Yeah.
Brent, I can't do fucking anything right now. Yeah. I'm sorry.
During projects like that, it gets busy. So super excited. We're going to be like promoting that work on all Instagrams and social media and stuff for the business and personal stuff in the next week or so. But if you have Peacock, check it out. Hope you like it. But that's
what is a hero image? What's a hero image?
So it's just as you search over on your TV, like, instead of having a big picture of like The Office, it's just like a preview image that takes over a huge
in like the top quarter-ish sort of.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So
you would see the hero image first, and then the trailer would play after like 10 seconds.
Absolutely.
Or something.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Exactly. So, and like now we just made static images for all of those genres. So that's, if you see horror and thriller, there's like a horror and thriller picture. If you see like a comedy, there's like a comedy image that we created, and it's all like a 3D, 2D mix illustration. They're great. We're super proud of them. We love them. The project was great. Peacock was great. It was a good time. So,
well, let me ask you this, Jeff. So you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
This has been kind of your main job out of school, is doing graphic design and stuff like that, right?
Totally.
You've seen your stuff a lot of places.
Yeah.
What's it like? I mean, these 4 are done by you,
Yep.
which is pretty cool because if you look at these 4, they're such different looking images.
Yeah.
Like I love going like, can you tell that 4 of these are made by the same artist? Which is very cool because you have you have a look, and then you can also very easily stray from it. What's it like seeing your art on such a big platform like that throughout your career?
That one was. This one is
weird.
Yeah, this one was super weird. This one is so high profile, and it's in so many homes. Like it's in over 1 million homes. So like, that's crazy, and that's exciting. But yeah, previously I've done a lot of high profile brand work that. Once you see it in stores or you see a commercial that you made, like I wrote some Pepsi commercials years ago that were actually, made and played, and that's great. And it's a cool feeling. You start to get a little desensitized to it, but every once in a while a project like this comes along and you get super excited and it kind of revitalizes like, oh yeah, this is cool to see your work on such a big platform. The other one that I think I still get the most excited for was, and this is racing specific, is I designed Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s NASCAR when I worked for Mountain Dew. And so there's an old NASCAR
working for Mountain Dew is hilarious.
It's so fun. Dew Shine is what it was called. So if you Google the NASCAR Dew Shine, like moonshine, but with Mountain Dew, it's great name.
It's problematic. Go ahead.
Moonshine for kids. So check it out. And I did that, and then we got to go to the race. It was amazing. It was such a cool experience. But yeah, I've designed a couple NASCAR, liveries over the years for Mountain Dew, which I did a Baja Blast one, which was really funny. But they're cool. So seeing all that stuff is just exciting. I still try to be as grateful and just pumped that I have the opportunity to get to do stuff like this. It's such a cool job. It's not a real job. I'm just drawing pictures and telling jokes.
I mean, it's more of a real job than this is. That's
true.
Real. Like being a comedian is way less of a real job than doodling digital dicks or something.
So it's cool. So it was a good week. It was awesome to see that stuff launch, and I'm pumped.
The UFC Fight Pass, the one you did with the Sklar brothers, I'll see that on billboards. Here in LA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's Jeff Tice. How fun!
Yeah. So if you don't know, I also did all the design and creative direction for a show called The Nosebleeds on UFC Fight Pass. So if you're a UFC person, if you love UFC, all of the design and those shows, it's called The Nosebleeds with the Sklar brothers. It's it's a really fun show. You don't even have to love fighting. It's just good comedy, like just good jokes the whole time. But yeah, check out The Nosebleeds. I worked on that show with them. Hopefully we can have them on. They're great guys. They would love to talk sports and racing and stuff. So good folks. But yeah, it was a good week. Pumped.
That's cool.
How are you doing?
Congrats.
How was your week?
I've had an interesting week.
Oh, that's not a good start.
Let's start with the good, and then we'll get into the weird.
Yeah.
So we'll start with a car update.
Yes.
The car build is getting painted today or this week. I got a video of the paint when it came out, so we're painting it Daytona Violet.
Let's go.
And so I got a video from when they opened up the can of paint, so I could see it on the top, and I could see it in the bucket, and I was like, oh, this is gonna look so good.
That's awesome.
Very excited about that. The Z3 that was broken.
Yep.
I had to get it towed to. Thank God I didn't try to do the differential myself.
Yeah.
Because when they took out the differential, they're like, yeah, your axle's obliterated too. I was like, I mean, that makes sense.
Cool.
For
Sick.
sure. Dope. Let's bring out another 1,000. I didn't know that I owned a boat right now. So but we're getting it towed there.
Yep.
Because it can't move, and I didn't want to do the work myself. And the dude towing it didn't pull the parking brake up before he put the platform down. So the car just rolled into the back of his truck.
Oh no.
Damaged my freshly painted bumper.
Oh no.
And then he's like, I don't want any problems. I'm like, it's fine. And, we'll get it figured out. But that wasn't there. And he goes, I'm pretty sure that was there. I was like, dog, you can see how it literally just rolled into your car, and the winch did this, and the chain did this. What are you talking about?
Oh.
And like both of us like grabbed the wheels, like the tire wheels, trying to slow the car down from rolling in.
Oh.
And
shit.
And the guy was like, that was there. I was like, no, it wasn't, dude. I just got the car painted. So that was fun. So now I get to deal with that. This car's becoming, it's always one thing or another. Granted, it's a 25-year-old car. It's probably a 15-year-old build. I get it. But each time something happens, I'm like, are you sure you want 2 of these?
Yeah.
You sure you want to have both of these cars? You don't just want to sell this?
Sure about that?
So we'll see how that goes. But I think I'm getting the title finally, which is good.
Oh, that's exciting.
A year and a half of driving this thing around with no title or
Legal,
registration.
baby.
And then I went to I'm going to save this topic for next time because I haven't done it yet.
Oh,
but
sweet.
I'll just say this. I'm flying Jet Suite X, JSX.
Oh, yes.
Out of Broomfield.
You are.
Because I had to buy my ticket so last minute for Boulder this week, tomorrow.
Yep.
That it was $20 more to fly Jet Suite X. And if you don't know JSX,
No
it's
way.
like a 16-seat jet. And I was like, fuck yeah. And you don't have to go through security.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of that shit. They say show up 20 minutes before your flight.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, I can handle
You're
this.
like, I do that when I fly Southwest. So
Yeah, right? So I'm gonna so I'll report back next week on how that goes.
I'm so excited to hear about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. It's funny because I'll tell that to my comic friends, like especially the ones that like open up for big names,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, JSX rules. We take that all the time
Yeah.
with so and so and who's the fuck." And so I'm very excited.
Sponsor
about that.
of the podcast. What's up, JSX? Sponsor of the
Dog,
pod.
I'm trying to get them to sponsor Boulder because they fly in and out of Boulder Broomfield.
Crazy.
And I was like, trade me a weekly round trip flight. And then, because I'll fly back every week if I'm in a private jet. I don't give a shit.
That's so funny.
So that was fun.
That's cool.
Here's what was not fun.
Oh, no.
So if you listened to the podcast last week, you knew that I was going to live stream my breakup. Now, did it get live streamed? No. Why? Because we settled it via text.
Because you're a human being. Oh, no, that's worse than live
text,
streaming.
Bro. Fucking text. So I hit her up. I'm like, hey, what you doing? And she just goes, it's pretty clear you don't want a baby, and I can't keep spending time with this. And I was like,
damn.
Well, that was easy. It felt like a Staples easy button. I was like, well, that was easy. I didn't.
The logo comes across your screen. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Great.
Because if she came in person.
Yep.
We wouldn't be broken up. We've broken up like 8 times
of course.
In person, and it didn't.
So it was a good thing. It was.
It was a good thing.
Yeah.
So I back on an app.
Immediately back on the app.
Immediately.
Yeah.
I logged back in. I was like, yep, this works. Match with this chick. And, we're chatting. So we set up a meeting for last night.
Yep.
For Friday night.
Nice.
And it was, she set the time and the place.
Nice.
She goes, let's meet here on this day at this time.
Cool.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
So I go to that place.
Yep.
I get there.
Yep.
And I open the app, I go to the inbox, and the message is gone. Now, I will say this.
Oh.
Hinge acts weird on my phone. Anytime I've logged into Hinge, I get a bunch of weird Instagram requests, like friend, follows.
Yeah.
This one girl started commenting on this car video I put up, and I was like, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then she was talking to me. I'm like, are you a robot? Like, what?
Yeah.
Speak English. What are you saying? She picked up on a couple terms.
Weird.
And I referred to a drift car as technology.
Yeah.
Like if you have the tech, because she asked if I could drift. I was like, I can drift, but I don't have that kind of technology.
Yeah.
And then she kept talking about, you're probably so good at the technology. And I was like,
it's just.
where do you live in Latvia?
Just
What
a
the
little off.
fuck is?
That's so
yeah.
funny.
So on the drive, or right before I left, I blocked her. And I was like, hey, are you a robot or just stealing my profile?
Yeah.
So I blocked her, and then I get to the place, and then all of a sudden this message is deleted. And I don't know if they're related.
Yep.
I don't know. But I've sat there, and then
just with one rose on the table. Just sitting there silently with one rose.
Didn't show up. And I get leaving mid-date. I've done that before.
Of course.
I'm sure karma would come back at me for leaving mid-date. But I go to the lady who's seating me, and I go, hey, by the way, I'm waiting on someone, and I've never met her before. I don't have a way to meet up with her. I deleted the message on accident or something happened.
Yeah.
So, and then I told the girl, I was like, you might be witnessing me getting stood up for the first time in my life,
Whoa.
which is also fun for you.
Yeah.
Weird for me to admit this out loud.
Yeah.
And then and we're at this, I'm at this Mexican restaurant, and at about 40 minutes in, so like I had to wait 25 minutes to get sat.
Yep.
And then so we're 30 minutes late by the time I'm sat. And I was like, I don't think she's coming, so I'm going to start with a...
So you start eating.
A double margarita.
Oh, good.
With a shot on the side.
Yep.
And then about 40 minutes in, I was like, she ain't coming.
Yeah.
And I eat a molcajete
Yeah.
by myself.
Oh, my God.
Which is a huge meal that's like for 2 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever. And then I tell the guy who's got like a tequila cart rolling by, I was like, dog, I just got stood up for the first time in my life. He goes, brother, I got
you, dog.
he just starts feeding me tequila shots.
Oh.
And then I finally get home, and I was like gonna go out to like the store or something because my buddy is a bartender there, but he wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay here and drink tequila.
Yeah.
And eat mushrooms. So I ate,
Oh.
I ate a gram of mushrooms, turned on my patio lights, and just listened to Chris Isaac radio, which is just a bunch of sad songs. And then my hot neighbor comes over, and we start smoking, whom I've asked out before during the pandemic, and she just gave me a no. And I was like, all right.
At least she gave you an answer and didn't just ghost you.
And so we were smoking weed, chatting about it, and
Funny.
just fucking drinking.
Oh.
So it ended up being a kind of a fun night, but it was also
It was a lit.
I've never been stood up before, and it's also like I spent $78 by myself on this on this shit. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be. I don't give a fuck. I'm pampering myself.
I'm gonna treat
now.
myself. That's the way to go. You got to just
Absolutely.
lean into it, and you can't control other people, and you'll find them. You'll find them.
It made me like, again, never been stood up, but it's funny the process you go through. Because also she was a mom of 2, and I'm not trying to be rude, but how's a mom of 2 gonna stand me up? You don't get date nights ever. This is like the time you get a date night. So in my head, I'm like, maybe something went wrong. Maybe something went wrong with her kid.
Yep.
Who knows? So then I find her on Instagram, and I followed her on Instagram.
Oh no, this took a turn.
I requested the friend on Instagram. I was like, maybe Hinge deleted the message and she can't find me. I don't know. I'm waiting, and then I looked today, still requested. I was like, I look like a stalker. Unrequested.
The cops show up today.
Psychopath.
It's like,
Right.
Oh,
but like,
buddy.
it's funny the mind process you go through of like, is this the one? Is because I have to remember from memory what this chick looked like, and you see a girl alone, you're like, is that the one? No, but she's pretty. Maybe I should hit her up.
Yeah.
And then you think about those times you see guys at the airport with flowers, and you just hope.
Yeah.
I hope she shows up.
I hope she's there. Yeah.
For your sake.
Yeah.
Because everyone around you is just watching.
We know.
You get stood.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
We know.
That I got stood up, and
man.
I was like, I felt like Walter in that scene in The Big Lebowski, where he causes that scene in the coffee shop, and he's like, I'm staying.
I'm here.
I'm finishing my coffee.
I'm here.
I'm staying. So it was a good time. It was a good time.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I don't. I'm sorry that you got stood up, but I love the story. It's a good story.
Aren't you glad you got married so long ago?
Honestly, yes. Yes, truly. I'm one of those people that I advocate super hard for being in a relationship for a long time, all the time. It's been great. I'm so lucky and grateful, and I'm sorry that happened. That sucks, dude.
I mean, it is. So also too, I totally wrote like some chunks about it so I could write this into a bit, and then I wrote off the whole dinner.
Yeah,
because I was like,
counts.
fuck that.
That
At least
counts.
I'm gonna get a tax write off on this shit.
Hilarious. There's the Brent brain that I need. The tax
there
brain.
we go.
Yeah.
Yep. Living in the gray, baby.
Oh.
So that's what I've been up to this week.
That's great. That is a bummer. Your week was tough, but I don't think it was as tough as McLaren's. Let's get
Lord,
into
no.
my.
I'll take my week over McLaren's. McLaren's getting stood up left and right now.
Shout out to James Key. He walked in. It's like that meme where they're trying to open the door to get back into the facility, and it's not happening. So yeah, the big news this week is there's a few little things popping off, but the big one was Zach Brown came out with a reorganization of the way that the Formula One team will be structured, and basically what that means is James Key as the executive technical director is out. And
get him out.
It was like the most corporate way to do things. In my head, again, I have no idea the inner workings of what's going on at McLaren other than clearly they're having issues, but
they're taking notes from Ferrari.
Yeah, the pressure hit Zach Brown, and I think he went into corporate boss guy, and he was like, heads got to roll. So that's kind of what they did. They did this restructure of the way things are going to work. And just a quick rundown of what they did. The executive technical director, James Key, is out, and then he's replacing them. Zach Brown is replacing them with a team of 3, which... I don't know, man.
That's always going to work well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's just add more cooks to the kitchen. So
right. He's like, we saved all this money by getting rid of Danny Rick and bringing in Oscar Piastri, so we have some budget cap left over. Plus, we have 10 million sponsors, we don't know how to spend all this money legally.
Exactly.
So here we go.
So let's just have 3 of the same person, which that's not totally true. So what they're going to have is 3 executives running the technical side of things. They all report directly to the new or the most current team principal in Andrea. And so we got Peter Prodoromo, sorry, just to butcher his name, a guy named Neil Houdley, again, very American, gonna butcher all these.
Let's just call you Google Translate.
Yeah, right.
Jeff Translate.
Yeah. And then David Sanchez, who will come in next year, who is the guy from Ferrari, the head of aerodynamics there. So these 3 guys all have what it takes to hopefully put together a great package. As a McLaren fan, it bums me out because, one, we are going to start just this, I think, chain reaction of changes and trying to catch up to where we were prior to the 2022 regulations.
Yeah.
Overall, I just get sad because I think all of this change will just eventually be a ripple effect into the performance. I don't think it's going to create a massive step forward immediately. I think it's great now you got to make these changes now, but I think it's going to take time for David Sanchez and for all this team to kind of gel, get everything together, and create an actual performant car. So the writing on the wall, to me, unfortunately, this might be too sad for me to say out loud, is that the 2024 car is going to be trash. I think.
They're going to go 2 seasons of trash?
I think so. I think it's going to be bad. That's my thought, is it'll be a bad year next year as well, and then even into 2025.
Yikes!
I don't know, man. I just don't see.
So Lewis is not going to go to McLaren, is what you're saying?
I don't think so, but we did see a fun little. All right, this is perfect segue, dude. Here we go. So.
I do feel bad for McLaren, though. I will say that.
Yeah.
It's too corporate, and I hate them being shitty.
Yeah, I really hope they pull an Aston and can take this massive step forward and show up with a Red Bull 0.4, which would be great. I hope, but I just don't see it happening this year, next year. So we'll see. That might be too doom and gloom. I'm normally pretty optimistic, but I think a lot of these shifts and changes just take time. Really is all it is. It's going to take time for this stuff to come together. That's all.
Someone hit me up in my DMs and they're like, "Do you think Lewis will go to McLaren, go back to the old days?" No,
I don't think so. I think so. Here's my tinfoil hat.
I love it.
My tinfoil hat is we saw this week randomly, quote unquote randomly, that Lando and Lewis were golfing together. They were at the range with Uncle Terry. They're hanging out, which was very fun. Lando on his Twitch stream said that they just ran into each other. Lewis showed up to the range, and then they started hanging out.
Because everyone knows that Lewis is an avid golfer.
Dude, like you said.
Know, when he's not running on Antarctica's fucking glaciers, he's out just hitting balls on the range with the regulars.
Nothing like being one of the greatest of all time at your sport, and then you're like, I'm gonna go do this other sport that I am really bad at, that I'm just really bad. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, like we looked at the video, and you immediately were like, whoa, his swing is trash.
It's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. Yeah. It's the first thing I looked at. He looks like he's just trying to hit like a cricket ball or something. Like he's just trying to hit at. You want to swing through the ball.
Yeah,
is what you're trying to do with golf, and he is just trying to slap the ball, and it looked so bad. It looked like when I saw Jeremy Renner, R.I.P. his legs. That was mean. I shouldn't have said that. When I saw Jeremy Renner playing golf with my local Dude, I've seen Sly Stallone there.
Oh, weird.
I've seen this Jason Sklar.
Oh yeah.
I've seen them all there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Jeremy Renner had a very bad swing though.
Yeah, it's like golf is such a weird. We won't get into golf, but golf is so weird.
Let's do a side podcast on golf.
Yeah, it's such a weird movement. So when it is interesting to see like elite athletes have a weird swing because it is something that doesn't come natural to a lot of people.
Sure.
No matter how athletic and coordinated you are, it's a weird movement. But so Lando and Lewis were golfing. They put that out into the world. Everyone's like excited and like, oh, cool. And then immediately my tinfoil hat starts tingling. So here's my conspiracy is that
his Ticey senses.
McLaren, yeah, my tingling is that Lando is being recruited by Lewis to take his seat and be his successor at Mercedes once his contract is up at McLaren. I think Lewis stays at Mercedes a couple more years, and then when Lando's contract is up with McLaren, they're already laying the groundwork of slowly soft selling him on the idea of hopping over to Mercedes. So is that a silly theory? I don't think so. I think it's a good recruiting tool for Mercedes, for Toto and Lewis to eventually and hopefully have Mercedes in good hands following that. But
yeah,
we'll see.
And I believe, if I'm reading this correctly, I just typed this in. Lando's contract is done this year, right?
Oh, I think so.
Or is it next year?
It
He
might
had a
be-
3-year contract.
Yeah.
And it says, where is Lando going next year? Which makes me think at his Norris will be the most recent leader by 2026. Now, is that right?
2026, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
Which would make sense. So
through
then,
26, yeah.
Yeah, so then Lewis gives Merck a chance.
Yeah.
I've been saying Lewis is going to want to retire for 2 years now.
I know.
And so eventually I know I'll be right. And I'm like, see, I told you so. I've been saying it for 5 years. And like, well, yeah, but that's 5 more years. Like, that's
come on.
He's almost going to retire. But if, he's too big of a winner.
Yeah.
You can't go from, like, what was it, 4 back-to-backs? Or was it all 7 in a row?
It was.
For his world champions.
Oh, not all 7 in a row. No, there was
4 back-to-back.
Yeah, yep.
You can't go from that to a midfield team and just not and like I'm old.
No.
I'm making a movie with Brad Pitt. I don't need to. I would love to see if he has a cameo in the Formula One movie that Brad Pitt's doing.
I hope so. You would
be
hope.
cool.
Yeah, and
Right?
also another like huge part of the equation for him is George. George being in the equation, having to compete now. George has clearly shown he's proficient. He beat him last year, even though the car
He can
was
drive a pile of shit car.
bad.
For sure.
Yeah, and so he can even drive an old 50's Ferrari in a beautiful photo. I don't know. You sent me this photo. I don't know. So if you're listening, there's a photo been going around. I hadn't seen this photo. You sent it to me. What's going on in this photo, Brent?
Dog, I have
boy?
no idea. So I found this and someone was talking about it. I was like, holy shit, this is correct. There's a picture out there from like the 50's. Jan's going to throw this up on our video here. So if you're listening to this, go to our YouTube, watch the clip of this. But it looks like Charles Leclerc and George Russell are dating in this old 50's photo. It's a color photo. They're in a Ferrari. It's Ferrari red, as it is, scarlet red. And George Russell's wearing like a
little bonnet,
a hair scarf. Yeah, I mean, it's not them, but is it? I feel like this is like the Mandela effect. Like we're seeing this. I'm like, I knew that George Russell was an AI generated human being. I knew it. They modeled it after this woman. Poor lady. My God.
I know.
Although George is a pretty man.
He's hot. He's a good-looking dude.
No, he's pretty.
He's pretty.
He is pretty.
Charles is hot. George is pretty. Yep.
Yeah. And Charles Leclerc just has this back to her,
Yeah.
and he's like looking at his watch or something like that. And I'm like, I feel like that's how Charles and Charlotte like spent most of their dating life, of him just like, Jesus Christ, I got another thing she wants to say. And it looks very, very funny if you look at it, because George, like this lady, might be George's mom.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it has to be George's mom.
It's possible.
I mean, she's got a dude's haircut.
Yeah, well, it's all wrapped up, right? Is it maybe
Yeah,
she
it
lets
is
it
wrapped
down?
up, but she's got the pompadour. And who am I to talk about hairstyles?
Hey.
I haven't had a hairstyle since I was in college. So, but I do think it's hilarious that this looks like them because I would love to see Charles Leclerc with just a pack of cigs in his front pocket, just Italian, just monogasting it up.
What I really want is for them to recreate the photo for like a GQ photo shoot or any promotional videos. It would be that would just crush it if we could get Charles and George to recreate this photo. Oh my God!
George is such a goober.
Much.
He'd probably be like, "Oh, crikey, that seems like a good idea." That crikey, that's the wrong one.
Blimey.
Blimey.
Yeah.
That looks sublime.
Yeah.
That would be mental. There it is.
Yep. Yeah, you were so close, but you did lean Australian. But it is
well because the Grand Prix is next week, so I'm just trying to get in the habit of it.
I know.
But that is. I mean, it looks so much like them. It's really crazy, and I do feel like it's like Bernstein Bears type. Like, was this them? Did they
could have been
exist out there?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Speaking of Australian, mate, let's get into Australian Grand Prix this week. Super
the
excited.
Aussie Down Under.
Yeah, dude, I'm pumped for it. Obviously, as you guys know, this is an off week, but we are leading into the Australian Grand Prix. It's funny how they have to bookend the traveling for the schedule prior to the week in Australia, and then we have 3 weeks off after. Basically, I think the logistics of getting everything to the bottom of the world and then back to they go to Azerbaijan. So quite the logistical feat to get down there. But yeah, this week we have Melbourne coming up, the Australian Grand Prix at Albert Park.
If you don't know Melbourne, how they do there.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
And it's, dude, one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone has gone and studied abroad for 6 months in Australia and they go, oh, they say Melbourne. It's like, you don't. That's how they say it.
You say Melbourne.
You don't go around going
idiot.
spaghetti. Like, you don't do that. And like the people who do that are super annoying. So I was like, I lived there for almost 10 years. I don't do that. Like, I have a perfect Australian accent. I don't do that. Don't do it. Don't be the weird guy. It drives me nuts.
It's like going to a Mexican restaurant. I'll have a burrito.
Oh, and a quesadilla. And
a quesadilla. Yeah.
All right, we could stop doing that for
sure. I always go Italian with a quesadilla.
I know, me too. That's why I went spaghetti, because it's the only one I could do stereotypically.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to go to the Australian Grand Prix?
Yes.
In Melbourne?
In Melbourne.
If you go down, have you been to Australia since you've left?
No, I've never been back.
When you go back, would your accent just immediately come out on accident?
Yeah, certain words.
Or would you let it come out?
I would let it come out. I would enjoy that. But also, yeah, certain words. I'm also the type of person that parrots and mimics. Like, accents.
I go to the South and do the same thing.
They totally wears off on me quickly in a way that I'm like, why did I just do that? Like, I feel like that my brain has this need to like mimic the environment that I'm in. So
you feel like a fraud. You're like
100%. I'm like, why? Like, I was in Ireland. I'm like, oh, I can't even do an Irish accent. It comes out Australian every time.
That joke about your wife talking to you. She's like, he was speaking French.
He's French. Got it. Yeah. So this is a thick Scottish accent. It's like, that's French. Yeah. So, I would love to do that. We should go. I lived in such a small town that there was no reason to really like. We have friends there, but I was so little. I moved to America when I was 12, so I don't have a ton of like
America.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of close friends anymore. We still keep in touch like lightly on Instagram and stuff, but I would love to go back and just see it. It's such a beautiful place. I have so much love for it. It's such a huge part of me, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to get there. It's expensive. You can't fly JSX there out of Broomfield. It's just such a trip, but
I would love to see you go head to head against a fucking kangaroo.
Yeah.
Just one more time.
Yeah.
Just one more time. I'll even make it a baby kangaroo now that you're grown up.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit fairer of a fight.
Yeah, I'll do that.
A joey is what they're called?
Yeah, a baby kangaroo is called a joey. Yeah.
Oh, that's how they got Joey Tribbiani's name in Friends. Okay, it was a reference to that. That was so stupid. How my brain connects things is baffling sometimes.
I love it.
It's gonna be fun to watch them, like in Miami, how they had to have all the lizards off the off the track. They had to have nets for when they just fell into the track.
Yep.
They're gonna have to have that for snakes and things
kangaroos,
that can murder people. Yeah,
jumping over the barriers and getting annihilated.
Even the livestock in Australia are criminals.
Yeah,
like they that place down there is just all crazy.
It's mayhem, dude. Australia's mayhem. Everything's trying to kill you. The safest part about the Australian Grand Prix is the cars going 200 miles an hour. Somehow that's the safest part of the race. Everything else, the spiders, the snakes, treacherous. It's coming after you. Yeah, I love it so much. Australia is the greatest place on the planet. I have such a soft spot for it, but it's gonna be a great race. I'm excited too because Piastri, it's his first race as an F1 rookie. Now that Ricciardo is out of the the actual grid lineup, I'm sure he'll be there just crushing press and doing all that stuff. But
crushing press, dude.
Yeah. But Piastri is there. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he handles being the star marquee figure of the Grand Prix. It's exciting for him. It's great for McLaren to get some stage time, even though
they're going to finish 19th and 18th.
It's going to be tough. And Albert Park is a street circuit, so
that's cool.
My hope is it's kind of a weird street circuit. So the way that they construct
like Miami street circuit almost.
Yeah, they construct it every year. It is on actual streets of the city around Albert Park Lake, but unlike Jeddah, Albert Park, they build in like runoffs, like decently sized runoffs for the cars.
That's cool.
It technically is a street circuit without those like typical super tight walls like Monaco or Jeddah or things like that. So pretty interesting mix. We'll see how it goes. I hope that translates to Checo being able to extend his street circuit, reign. But our Lord and Savior of the sludge, our boy, our swamp man, Helmut Marko, decided to unhook from the sludge matrix and come out into the world this week, as always.
He needed to breathe. He needed
I needed to come up for air.
I need young blood to drink.
He's like, an off week? Give me a microphone. And you're like, okay, all right. And he came out and said nothing racist this time, shockingly. But what he did say,
What? Are you sure you dug deep enough?
I don't know. We'll get to the racism, but
don't worry. Plenty of racism still left over.
Yeah. He came out and said that Max wasn't at 100% in Saudi Arabia. He said he was about at 80%. And in Australia, we're going to see a quote-unquote different Max. So that was kind of the prediction from Helmut that Max is going to show up and kind of go a little harder. I think the weird drama between Checo,
the fastest lap.
Exactly. I think that probably is what he was alluding to, and things getting a little dicey over at Red Bull. Just to hop back to that really quick, there was so much that was said about the lap, and then I saw a really good take that I agreed with. I was like, if Max isn't going for that, he's lost it. Of course he has to, he needs to claw. They're fighting for a championship, and it's the second week. You're going to take every inch you get. So, anyway.
But why would the team hold Checo back like that?
Yeah, that's the issue. I don't know if they were officially, but
I get it that he's number 2 to Max's number 1. I get that for sure. But again, you just said it. It's week 2.
It does make the championship race as a team easier if Max is running away with it. So I do want Checo to. I hope he wins in Australia and
I want to be a thorn. I want him to be a thorn in Red Bull's side.
Absolutely. I want it to exactly. I hope he makes it impossible for them. Yeah. And in a great way because he's winning. I would love that so much. He had this
whole winter break to marinate on those comments that Max made on being number 2 and he's a team player, and when he was a team player and he did all this for them, Max still shit all over him.
Yep.
So to me, I hope he's like, I'm in the best car. I'm gonna go show them what I can do.
Yep.
And we know Max is great. He went from 15th to 2nd handedly.
Yeah.
When he passed Lewis, Crofty, that comment he said, it looked like F2 passing F1. It did. It was embarrassing.
Crazy.
If you blinked, you missed that overtake. It was so easy.
Yep.
So I hope that Checo is just a pain in Max's ass. Work for it, Max.
Yeah.
Work
hope
for
so.
it.
I hope so.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm excited for that. Adjacently to Max and directly involving racism, let's get to the racist part of the podcast. Not from us.
No.
From
We're like, finally.
just a new graphic. It's like slurs. And you're like, all right,
let's get slurred.
Yeah. Just the worst podcast ever.
What is this, Cum Town?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sign up for the Patreon.
Yeah.
So, but into our Mazzy.
Into our Mazzy. Yeah,
because
the world famous Mazzy. And if you're a new listener and you don't know what Mazzy is, because I know we got some new listeners over the past couple weeks, our Mazzy is our weekly award given to the shittiest driver or person in Formula One, named after the one and only Nikita Mazepin.
Woo!
Come on,
I don't know why I went Italian.
Nikita.
Yeah. This is classically Russian. Yeah.
Yeah. In his last season, he was 21st out of 20 drivers for the points. And our favorite, Nick DeVries, shout out to Jan, got that 1 point to bump the Mazzy down to 21st out of 20.
Incredible.
So it's for the shittiest person there is. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and tell us who our Mazzy winner is this week?
I would love to. Thank you so much for the setup. The person finishing 21st out of 20 this week is the one and only, someone who I think has won it previously, Nelson.
And I'm sure he will win it again.
I think so.
Knowing this guy.
3-time world champion F1 driver, Brazilian, icon of the sport.
Winner.
Icon of the sport. Yeah, he's going to win more Mazzies than titles for sure. Nelson Piquet. This week in the news, so previously Nelson Piquet had some comments about Lewis Hamilton, the one and only, that were very derogatory.
8-time world champion.
Yep, 8-time. Very derogatory. One was racist and then one was homophobic. 2 separate occasions, but they came
double
out
banger.
just really letting it fly. Just really letting everything, if he could toss in an ableist one, sure, let's get a trifecta, man. Who cares? Crazy. So he was letting it fly and in the media, and there was a big controversy months ago about this, and a lot of, rightfully people were upset and were calling for him to apologize. I didn't know then, apparently, the Brazilian courts took it to the extent that came out this week.
Yeah. This is great.
He has to pay. He got penalized and has to pay, according to a judge in Brazil, upwards of $900,000.
$953.50.
Yeah,
$953,050.
Dude,
5 million Brazilian reals, or I assume that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah, for what they're calling moral damages, which I love that so much. I'm like, dude, yes, if you are firing off and being racist, especially against one of the icons of the sport, dude, you have to pay almost $1 million.
So great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Good. Fuck him.
I can see Americans being like, yo, free speech, whatever. It's like, no, dude, you have to pay. Now, if you're going to be an asshole, you get to pay. And it also immediately made me think, I was like, oh, if open mic comedians weren't broke enough, they would be so broke. After every open mic, you'd be like, you can't say any of this.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh man. Even if they got fined $50, they would still be fucking broke.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff, you filled me in on Nelson Piquet. I had heard of him, but I forgot his connection to Formula One, other than his history, his driving status.
Yes.
Why don't you fill us in on the connection of Nelson Piquet in current Formula One world?
Just a light connection to
a light dusting
of things going on. So Nelson Piquet, obviously icon of the sport. He had a daughter. Her name is Kelly Piquet, and Kelly Piquet, weirdly enough, is the partner and or girlfriend to the one and only Max Verstappen. So,
drop the bomb.
So weird amount of opinions and personalities surrounding Max that are not the greatest. Joss has his issues. Clearly, Nelson has his issues. Max.
Well, Joss hates Mexicans. I don't know if you knew that, but
and Helmet thinks Mexico's in South America. So we're all everyone's doing great. Everyone is having a good time.
South of America. South of America.
Oh yeah, you didn't hear me say of. So
it was mistranslated.
Yeah, that's what he said. So there's a weird connection there. And then also some people, this doesn't really have anything to do with Nelson outside of Kelly being his daughter, but Kelly's son. Kelly used to be married to Daniel Kvyat, who is an old Red Bull driver who seat was taken by Max Verstappen. So
shut up.
So Kelly's
wait, for real?
Yeah. So Kelly's son or child, I'm not sure if it's a boy or girl. Kelly's son is with Daniel Kvyat, who then they got divorced, and then Max started dating. So Max is the quote unquote step boyfriend of Daniel Kvyat, someone who he took his seat from at Red Bull. Very, very fun connection. I don't think people leave the paddock. I think that's all it is. It's everyone just travels together, and this is how these things happen. But
wow,
very weird. Yeah.
There's so many words in my head. I can't even get them all out in one sentence because it feels like I've seen this before. It feels like she's just like the video star that like, oh, your song's not a #1 hit anymore.
Yeah.
Well, 50 Cent is, so I'm gonna go hang out with him now.
Yeah.
Like that's just. She's just that's what Nelson makes her do because nope, you always you date the #1 Red Bull driver. Them's the rules.
Yeah, whoever's attacking Lewis, you have to go. You have to date
him.
Yeah, so
wild.
So yeah, this week's Mazzy.
You didn't feel that in the pre-show breakdown. That's insane.
I saved that little nugget for you. So yeah, Nelson Piquet, Mazzy winner for having to pay $900,000 for being racist and homophobic.
I mean, I think Kelly should also be like the runner-up this week for the for the Mazzy winner
by association.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And also, like it feels so. Is Kelly way older than Max?
I'm not sure. Not by much. I would say she's in her 20s ish. I'm not sure, but yeah.
And she was married to a Formula One driver and has a kid.
Yeah, Daniel Kvyat. Yeah.
Wow.
Russian guy. So
see, it's because the war.
That's
It was.
Yeah. So that's
it.
Like
I can't date Nikita, but I can date Max.
Yep.
That is insane, and also how weird for Max to be like,
Super
I'm not
weird.
only gonna take your seat, I'm gonna take your girl too.
Yep.
He's a psycho.
Yeah.
It's all Joss's fault.
100%. We're all armchair therapists for Max right now. We all know that this runs so much deeper than just having weird behavior. That's all it is.
Wild.
Yeah, that's it. So
what a world.
Yeah.
What a world we're living in. Well, that's a fun way to end the episode.
Good. We had a good time.
I feel like everyone is just going to be scratching their head when they like when this episode ends and the rest of their work day. They're like, really? He just took the seat and the girl.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Weird.
And then how do you think that if they get married, how do you think that kid's going to look at Max?
Yeah. I don't know.
Right?
I haven't what a weird thing to have to
I don't know. You're #2 to me, Max.
Yeah. You'll always be #2, Dad. You're not my real dad.
You're not my real dad. You're not my real Red Bull dad.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I wonder if Horner set all that up, too. But apparently, though, I did see this in this article that you sent, that the courts were trying to get double that
That's
out
crazy.
of Nelson.
Yeah.
Like they wanted a $10 million real fine on him, which would have been almost $2 million.
Crazy.
That would have been fun.
Nuts.
Yeah. So, what a fun episode, dude.
This was great.
I'm excited for Australia this week.
Yeah.
I'm about to hit the circuit on my simulator.
Let's go.
I've been doing every circuit as we go through it, and it's very fun. So, except they don't have F1 23 out. So I'm doing all the races from 22.
Yep.
And of course, I'm driving in the Ferrari, not in the.
Still,
I can't race Red Bull. I came back, and Elon was racing on Red Bull, and I was like, "How dare you? How dare you put that on my in my home? Yeah. How dare you?" But anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Oh Lord, I almost broke everything. I got so excited to go race. Thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate you tuning in every week. listening to us, sharing us
Yep.
with your friends. If you're new to the podcast and you're enjoying it, please give us a review. It does help the algorithms. So please give us a nice review there.
Yep.
Check us out on YouTube and Instagram as well. And big news, I should have mentioned this earlier. By the time that you listen to this, we should have our online store
Yes.
ready and available. It's brand new, so it's still like we're going to still be adding stuff to it, but you can get yourself some grid penalty merchandise there, or some art that Jeff made from the Miami Grand Prix, the Portuguese Grand Prix. So check it out there. I'm going to put a link in our Instagram bio once it's live.
Perfect.
It's on Redbubble is where the store is going to be, and our store name is just Grid Penalty F1.
Check it out.
Consistency. So please check out that and get shirts, phone case. I don't know why phone cases came second. Shirts, hoodies, hats, phone cases,
Yeah, do it
iPad
all.
cases,
Do
throw
it all.
pillows. You can get fucking shower curtains. You can really Grid Penalty up. So
Hell yeah.
excited about that. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you to Kat and thank you to Jan for all the great work that they're doing.
The greatest.
And, we'll see you guys next week for the Australian Grand Prix,
Oi, oi,
which if
oi.
you're in America is going to be on Saturday night.
It's going to be crazy.
I'm going to be blacked out, I think, for it.
For sure.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So,
Awesome.
all right, everybody. I love you. Be safe. Wear your seatbelts. And don't go crazy out there. There's a time and a place.
Be good.
We'll see you soon. Cue that music. Woo! DJ.